What's going on, everybody? Welcome back as I take a look at another beer. Thanks for swinging by to check out another video. Right now I'm going to take a look at one from Elysian, and this is the Immortal IPA. So one of those not really craft now beers that used to be craft, owned by, I guess, AB and Bev. But I had this one in the collection I had picked up and wanted to go ahead and check it out because I look at all beers, not just all craft beers, although mainly craft beers. And I heard some good things about this one, so I figured why not just give it a shot, see what this one happens to taste like. So this comes in at 6.3% ABV, 54 IBU. Here's some details on the side of the bottle there if you want to pause or whatever and check those out. There's some things you can look at, and nothing else really on the other side. Let's go ahead and get it open and get it into a glass and see what this one actually has to offer. So first look at that one. We come out, we get pretty much a simple two-finger head that pretty much sits white, as you can see there. You do have a little bit of a haze, but also have more clarity than some of the other recent IPAs I've taken a look at. I get a light behind it. It's got a nice golden color on it. I do get a lot of the carbonation that I'm picking up in the background. I'm going to sit that there. I don't know if you can see all the bubbles actually streaming, but there is some pretty good carbonation taking place. As far as anything with the aroma, getting a little bit of a faint of hops in there, a little bit of a, kind of like a little bit of a sweetness from the malts as well. But I am getting a little bit of a pininess there from the hops. Not as much some of the fruitiness taking place that you get on some of the American IPAs, like the tropical and the citrus. This one is more of an English IPA, so the pininess is something that's more expected on this type of style. As far as the taste, well, it does have a refreshing quality in the taste. Not really as much bitterness on the front as it is more on the finish. Has a little bit of a smoothness to it, a little bit of a lightness about the body. I would say this is closer to light to medium body, somewhere in between that. A little bit of a throat burn going down on the back end, but not really dry as much on the finish. Got a little bit of a tingling action taking place in the cheeks. Does leave a little bit of a nice refreshing quality there as well. Not picking up as much of the hoppiness in the flavor of it as much. Like I said, it's more of an English IPA, or that's what they seem to be going for this one, I believe. But I'm not getting much more than a slight bit of maybe that pininess that I mentioned in the aroma. But I'm not getting really anything else that kind of stands out either. I mean, it's not a terrible thing. It's more like it's just not really much really there. Now, on the back end flavor, you do get a little bit more than of a drag of some of the hops, and the more I'm drinking this down, as I'm halfway down the glass now, the more the cheeks are tingling a little bit more. So it is leaving a nice effect in the mouth. It's just flavor-wise, it's almost like nothing. It's like nothing good, nothing bad. It's just like nothing really that's there. But it does have an overall refreshing quality. Texture is not too thin, which is nice. Carbonation, as I said, it was lively, but you're not feeling it that much there on the palate, so that works out well. Feel to finish isn't bad. Like I said, a slight little bit of a burn as it goes down on the back end, but nothing really overpowering at all. Kind of expected what you would get on an IPA. So as far as rating this one out here, appearance is okay. It's got some lacing taking place, which is nice. And the look of the color, you got a nice golden straw color on the beer. You do get a nice little moment of some clarity when you put a light behind it, but it has the look that you would expect to get on an IPA, so it's pretty solid along those lines. So for appearance, I would actually give this one here a 11 out of 15. The aroma wasn't really all that great overall. You do have to sniff a little bit to try to get the aroma out of it. I gotta make sure not to drink too much of it so I can take a picture. But you do get some of that there. And if they are shooting for this one here as an English IPA, then you do have more of that style to a fit than you would an American. It doesn't really knock me back. It's 10 out of a 15. As far as the flavor is okay on this one. I like the refreshing quality of it. Not much bitterness on the initial. You have some, but it's not overly. You get more on the back end on the finish. And you do have a duration of the finish, which is actually nice. And you do have that flavor working. It gives you a nice little tingling in the cheeks, like I mentioned. So you're getting some good things happening from the flavor of the beer. So I give that 11 out of 15. As far as on the palate itself, I think it sits fine on the palate. It's got, like I said, a light to medium body. Texture, not overly thin at all, which is great. I don't like thin beers as much. Carbonation sits well. And the feel of the finish is pretty much decent in that regard. So on the palate, I'd actually give that a 12 out of 15. And then overall, as far as the overall presence of everything like that, I think for me, this one is actually a 34 out of 40. It's okay for the most part. Neither good, neither bad, but it's just overall, it's not giving me enough to kind of push it into something that's going to make it really memorable or something I would say I want to try it again. So for me, this one actually comes out to be a 78 out of 100. As far as the total overall score, if you're doing it on a 10-point scale, it would be like a 7.8. If you're doing it on a 5-point scale, you can cut that in half, right? So then that would actually be 3.9. Decent overall in that regard. And not a bad score for what it actually is for this beer. But if you've had this one before, let me know what you think. I'd like to hear your feedback as well. And we'll go from there and we'll move forward. But thanks again for swinging by to check out another video. I look forward to catching you guys next time. As always, keep drinking those good craft beers. And remember, there's always time. Cheers.